Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. It's time to look at the best graphics card to buy in October 2024, including the best graphics card for Amazon Prime Day and early Black Friday sales. We'll cover every budget level from the best graphics card under $200 all the way up to the best 1440p graphics card and best 4K graphics card in 2024. And we'll look at all the upcoming graphics card launches and sales so you can get the best value GPU in 2024. Remember, if you get value out of this video, please give it a like so it really helps out the channel, and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. With that, let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Salad, where you can use your PC's idle time to earn real rewards like games, gift cards, and more. When you aren't using your PC, it becomes part of the Salad network for computational tasks like AI and video rendering. All you need is an RTX 3060 or better GPU. Power users with an RTX 4090 have hundreds of jobs available and can earn up to $150 per month. When you're not using your PC, start up the Salad app and cook up some rewards like games, gift cards, Discord Nitro, and other epic loot. Click the link in the video description to start earning with Salad today. Let's start off by playing everyone's favorite game, should you buy now or should you wait? Well, obviously the first thing we have to talk about this month, it's Amazon Prime Day and the early Black Friday sales coming down the pike. Amazon Prime Day, it's October 8th and 9th. But really those sales start from other retailers like Newegg the day before, and they often continue after Prime Day is officially over. In fact, early Black Friday sales, they continue to get earlier and earlier every year, often pushing into late October. And looking at the deals from last year, many of the graphics card deals were almost as good in October as they were for Black Friday. So at this point, if you see what you want, I would feel free to buy it. And remember, AMD tends to offer much higher discounts for sales on their Radeon graphics card, while NVIDIA, they really don't. Let's take a quick look at current generation graphics card prices, and note, these prices were pulled from just before Amazon Prime Day, so use the links in the video description to get current pricing and availability in your region. Starting off with NVIDIA GeForce graphics card side, we're pricing for graphics cards at the higher end. So RTX 4090, 4080 Super, and the 4070 Ti Super, they spiked up a bit, led by the RTX 4090, which has reportedly stopped production. Moving down, we see the RTX 4070 Super pricing, still at its most expensive recently, with no other pricing changes for the rest of the stack, including the RTX 4060 Ti 16GB and RTX 4060. Previous generation RTX 3060 12GB GPUs were up slightly and have also reportedly ended production, while the RTX 3050 8GB graphics card, it sinks to its lowest ever price. Moving over on the AMD Radeon side, prices for AMD's Radeon RX 7000 series GPUs, they were down to their lowest ever pricing on the RX 7900 XTX 24GB and RX 7900 XT 20GB graphics cards. The other very notable change is the lower mid-range RX 7700 XT 12GB graphics card, which might already be experiencing sales price cuts down to an extremely good, in fact lowest ever, $349. And that's for the 3-fan power color model. Otherwise, no real changes for AMD graphics cards, but we do anticipate quite a bit of movement on these GPUs, particularly anything around the RX 7800 XT, 7900 GRE, and higher end GPUs, as AMD wants to clear these out ahead of their next generation launch. On the Intel side, for some reason prices have actually gone up, though that might actually just be due to the little game that retailers pull ahead of big sales, where they up the prices for about 3 weeks so that all those price trackers out there show it as a huge sale when they do lower the prices during the sale. With current GPU prices edging back down to match their lowest levels, should you buy now or wait for a new graphics card? Well, for next-gen graphics card launches, we're still expecting the RTX 5090 and RTX 5080 in early 2025, and leaked specs on the RTX 5080, they seem very disappointing. It's really more like a 70 class card, and I'm expecting NVIDIA to charge a lot for their new cards, with no date on an actual RTX 5070 or 5060 in sight. On the AMD side, we now have pretty much all the leaks pointing to an early 2025 launch, and RX 8000 series graphics cards will be mid-range to budget only, with the high-end being canceled. But they are expected to bring RX 7900 XTX and RX 7900 XT performance to a lower price point. For Intel Battlemage, the launch rumors are conflicting between either this fall or next year, but in early testing of Lunar Lake laptops that use the new Xe2 Battlemage GPU cores, they do look impressive. Looking at the current game bundles offered with the GPUs, the Intel Assassin's Creed Shadows bundle, it expired last month and there currently just isn't one for Intel GPUs. AMD extended its bundle offering both the Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 game and the Unknown 9 Awakening game to anyone buying a Radeon RX 7600 XT or higher GPU or Ryzen 7700 or 9700X or higher CPU by November 2nd. Now together those games sell for about $110 on Steam. NVIDIA extended the Star Wars Outlaw game bundle with the purchase of an RTX 4070 or higher value graphics card if you buy it by October 10th. Currently, that game is $70 direct from Ubisoft. Remember that to get the bundles, you actually have to buy the qualifying GPU at a participating retailer. Some Amazon third-party sellers do not offer it, and it should be in your cart with the GPU or at least some mention of it when you check out. All right, starting with the best graphics card, under $100 in October 2024. And this is backed by popular demand, as is our old spreadsheet, which yes, I have updated with used and new GPU prices, and I've linked it down in the video description. Remember, we only consider graphics cards with at least 8 GB of VRAM. Now, the best cheap graphics card right now, it's the GTX 1070 8 GB at around $70 US. And if you can't find that, then the RX 570, 580, or 590 8 GB versions starting around $70 US will fill in. But if you have just around $100 US, then the GTX 1080 Ti 11 GB GPU, it can be found right around that price point, and I'd strongly recommend you think about picking it up. Jumping over to the best graphics card under $200 in October 2024, and honestly, it's just so hard to get away from the AMD Radeon RX 6600 for about $190 US. Likely even lower with upcoming sales. I also expect some sales on the Intel Arc A580 and A750, which that might make them competitive. Though no game bundle for any of these cards, that does hurt a little bit. There are 0 new graphics cards with more than 8 GB of VRAM at this particular price point, and the used options, they're just really very old. The used GTX 1080 Ti, again, that's about $100, though I am now seeing some used RTX 3060 12 GB GPUs at an average selling price of $209, which isn't that far off. But this used price decline, it's driven mostly by huge sell-offs from former GPU miners, so keep that in mind. If you were thinking about the RTX 3050 8 GB at $184, please know it is terrible compared to the much faster and cheaper RX 6600. Moving over to the best graphics card under $300 in October 2024, which I've actually extended out to $310 just to include the RX 7600 XT 16 GB graphics card. We are just looking at new GPUs right now, and this is an area I do expect prices to drop quite a bit for sales. The best value, including the game bundles right now, is the RX 7600 XT 16 GB for $309, and I expect that GPU to go much lower during sales. Remember, you get 2 free games worth $110, which is just crazy good, especially since Space Marine 2 is an extremely good game. For those that don't care about the bundle and have closer to $200 to spend, I'd see if that RTX 3060 12 GB gets back to around $260, as you want to get away from 8 GB of VRAM as quickly as you can. The insane value, again excluding the game bundle, continues to be the RX 6700 XT and 6750 XT 12 GB graphics card, and it's still available in the US, but not many other markets. Even at $300 right now, it's an amazing value and it crushes the RTX 3060. I know some people will mention DLSS, but you can natively render on the 6750 XT faster than the RTX 3060, even using quality DLSS on that GPU. This might be the last big sales push to clear out these GPUs once and for all, and we saw them get all the way down to $269 for July Prime Day. Hopefully we'll see some good discounts on the Arc A770, but it really needs some steep ones as it just doesn't hold up value-wise. Jumping up to the best graphics card under $400, and honestly, we really only add the excellent value RX 7700 XT 12 GB GPU for around $350 to $380, and the terrible value RTX 4060 Ti 8 GB model around $375. Especially with the 2-game bundle with Space Marine 2, the RX 7700 XT 12 GB, it just crushes the competition, and I just honestly think NVIDIA's just decided to abandon the under $500 GPU market, given the weak competition and the lack of any price cuts. If you have between $350 and $400 to spend, grab that RX 7700 XT 12 GB and the 2-game bundle right now. Let's jump over the best graphics card between $400 and $600 in October 2024. Here we have the RTX 4060 Ti 16 GB at around $430, the RX 7800 XT 16 GB GPU for around $470, the RX 7900 GRE 16 GB for $520, and the RTX 4070 graphics card with a silly price of around $540, including newer models with slower VRAM. And finally, the RTX 4070 Super 12 GB, still hanging on very close to its MSRP at $590. Let's start off by tossing out that really badly priced RTX 4060 Ti 16 GB and the RTX 4070 non-Super. And I will say I am expecting some serious discounts to begin for the RX 7900 GRE and 7800 XT, as we expect RX 8000 series GPUs next year to hit around this price point. And we know AMD doesn't want to have a lot of these left over when the new GPUs drop. Of course, remember both NVIDIA and AMD have game bundles for these GPUs, except for the RTX 4060 Ti, of course. So take that into consideration if you are considering already buying one of those games. We have a showdown here for the best 1440p GPU 2024 between the more affordable RX 7800 XT 16GB, the slightly more expensive but slightly faster RX 7900 GRE 16GB, and the RTX 4070 Super 12GB, which hits slightly below the 7900 GRE, but also with 4GB less VRAM. I still recommend 16GB of VRAM for enthusiast level ray tracing, even at 1440p, so I don't consider that a factor in my recommendation. And honestly, the difference between DLSS and FSR quality modes at 1440p, it's pretty small as well. So to me, it's all about getting the most raw FPS and the most VRAM for my money. And that's why I think that the RX 7900 GRE and RX 7800 XT, they're just better values than the RTX 4070 Super, as I think some folks are going to live to regret the 12GB on VRAM for nearly $600 US. And as we'll see in the next category, the RX 7900 XT 20GB, it's not much more, and it's 20% faster. But if you are solely focused on NVIDIA or you want their game bundle instead, then the RTX 4070 Super is your option. Between the 7800 XT and 7900 GRE, if you can stretch to get the 7900 GRE, I'd recommend that, because you can't just add $60 later to your GPU to make it faster, so you might as well get it to last longer and get more FPS right now if you can. But if $470 is your limit, I think you'd be very happy with the RX 7800 XT, especially with the game bundle. Then we move to the best graphics card between $600 and $1,000. That's right, best graphics card under $1,000. Here we've got the RX 7900 XT 20GB for around $660, the RTX 4070 Ti Super 16GB for $790, the RX 7900 XTX 24GB for $880, and the RTX 4080 Super 16GB for just under $1,000 in the US. We still have the game bundles to consider if those are important to you, and I do expect some possibly steeper discounts on the higher end RX 7000 series graphics cards during the upcoming sales, based not only on history, but the fact that AMD is launching mid-range GPUs, not high-end, so they gotta get rid of pretty much everything pretty soon. So this is a tough one because we have no idea of the pricing on the next generation of graphics cards, and NVIDIA is giving every indication that they're gonna be charging quite a bit more, not less, for their next generation of gaming GPUs. Given all that, I think if you wanna spend about $700 to $800 on your GPU, I could see you going with the RX 7900 XT 20GB, especially if you were considering the RTX 4070 Super at $600. The 7900 XT, it's just way faster with plenty of VRAM. If ray tracing or DLSS at 4K is important to you, I think the 4070 Ti Super is the best way to go with 16GB of VRAM, and honestly, no replacement in sight for probably a while. And I'm assuming more expensive pricing on the RTX 5080. I could see possibly picking up a RX 7900 XTX if you get an insane discount on a flash sale, but I don't think we're going to see the RTX 4080 or 4080 Super get serious discounts if we go by past sales. And again, the closer we get to $1,000 US, the more everything in my mind is screaming wait if you can, unless you get an insane deal. That leaves the best graphics card of 2024, which remains the RTX 4090 24GB GPU, right now at $1,800 US for the cheapest of the models, and they basically go up substantially from there. Given the leaked specs that we've seen, and again, I want to emphasize these are leaks, not NVIDIA provided specs, the RTX 5080, it seems like it's going to provide RTX 4090D levels of performance. Remember, the RTX 4090D is the cut down version of the RTX 4090 that can be shipped into China under the current US AI technology export ban, and I honestly think that's why we're seeing such a cut down spec. China's a huge market, and NVIDIA wants to have something that they can call a high-end GPU to sell there, but the knock-on effect, it's that we're gonna get a GPU that's much closer to a 70 series card than an 80 series card. So honestly, maybe buying an RTX 4090 isn't the worst value if you want the absolute fastest thing that you can get right now. All these graphics cards are linked down in the video description, so check on those links to check out pricing and availability in your region. And of course, the spreadsheet is linked down there as well. And if you got value out of this video, please give it a like, of course, subscribe for more cool PC content like our recent Ryzen 7600X and Ryzen 7600 build guide video, where we show you how to put together a high-performance 1440p or 4K gaming PC for between $950 and $1,400. Check it out, and we'll catch you on the next one.